It's exciting to be able to see some of the old structures, and there's a lot of cover up of construction. These walls along the sidewalks are all plastered over brick in various stages of decay. Looks like we've got some characters over here. Hello!
Howdy.
Are you doing some surveying on the structure?
Yeah. Personal surveying.
As well?
Yeah.
This place is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Have you been here before?
I've driven by it quite a few times. We do water samples over this way. We work for Sonoma Water.
Yeah.
So I was just giving, these are some newer people working for us.
Hi, folks.
Kind of give them a tour, yeah.
Well, I am doing a YouTube channel, and I've been exploring California. I'm a local contractor.
Okay.
And I live in Napa.
Awesome.
And I'm on the way to look at a job in Santa Rosa, and I had to stop for a couple minutes.
Right on.
But
yeah.
Same inclination then, huh?
Yeah, so I've been, do you know much of the history of the building?
I just
Look
looked it up.
some stuff up. Why don't you go ahead and tell them about
to him, yeah.
So there are some date stones,
Yeah.
and it's an added date stone. That's not the
Yeah.
original. But you notice there's some fantastic detail
Yeah.
in the building. So this is actually carved stone. And what I'm noticing is the structure is exclusively brick. The foundation is well below grade, and it does go down. You can see if you go around the building, there's other entrances. But the building was part of an asylum system that was introduced in the late 1800s. This was the Sonoma Developmental Center, what it's called now. But it was originally part of an asylum system. There were close to 80 of them in the United States in the late 1800s. The one I'm most familiar with is the one in Napa, the Napa Kirkbride Asylum, which was a 10 million brick castle. 20,000 pallets of bricks were involved. This one's not quite as large, but if you come around the side where it's currently gated off, you can see that the building extended on the lot well beyond, and you can see where they've actually literally cut the building off.
Oh, wow.
And there's a granite core within the building used as structural integrity throughout the building. You'll notice that all of the vertical handrails are all large cut machined granite, and that piece on the right hand side could be 10,000 pounds.
Oh, so that's granite.
Those are solid machined granite.
Wow.
These actually start to become what in geology and archaeology would refer to as a megalithic block. So this is a block that the nearest quarry for this type of stone is 135 miles from here.
Okay.
And so if we're looking at the 1800s, 1870s technology, this was mule trains and hard labor, which simply doesn't fit with reality, because investigating some of the local mines and seeing some of their vintage equipment for hauling large amounts of stone, they admit they don't have the equipment. That equipment didn't exist. You cannot lift a stone that size onto a wooden cart and haul it 135 miles when a mule train fully loaded is only good for 12 miles per day. So you can see it's quite an extensive operation. So what I'm trying to discover on my channel is how these incredible structures were built with a population that almost didn't exist. So when you start to
mystery and straw out in here.
There's a mystery.
well, have a look at these arches, okay?
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
These are exactly the same construction style and execution as what you would see in the Colosseum in Rome, maybe in the ruins of Pompeii, all over the United States. So this, let's look at this on the side. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So one of the last times I was here, I was able to actually go onto the property and go up and down the stairs, but they've thrown us out of here.
Yeah.
So here's where you can see where a large section of the building has been physically removed and repaired, and you can see blocked up doorways.
Yeah.
Down to the right, you see an iron I-beam girder that's sitting on top of a 1 foot by 1 foot granite column that integrates with the core of the building. And so this building would have extended all the way through this lot. And you'll notice on the back part of the property, there's a poorly plastered over stone wall. And these stones are made up of pieces that some of them are heavier than cars. And these terraced stone walls go all the way up into the hillside. and there's evidence of extensive construction, brick construction. All of these buildings that are plastered over with the archways are 1800s construction brick, and the property is extensive, and it can be viewed on Google Map and Google Earth. And there's some amazing vintage pictures, one taken from across the street on Arnold Drive, where you can actually see partially buried aqueduct that actually Arnold Drive is built on top of. So these oldest pictures show this was something much greater than a place that would accommodate the mentally ill. Sonoma City only has about 8,000 people now. And we do notice that on the El Camino Real map, Sonoma is the termination point for the vintage El Camino Real. And you'll also notice that some of the biggest trees in Sonoma, Napa, and Northern California are the giant eucalyptus trees. And so when you go to some of these amazing sites, this property, the Napa Asylum, the Sonoma Square, everything in the Presidio in San Francisco, all the way south through Santa Cruz and beyond, there is a path of towering eucalyptus trees that you can follow that helps guide your path. But look at the construction of this wall. So it's extreme brick construction, and all the detail around all the giant size windows appears to be machine cut limestone, or it's possible that it could be a baked terracotta with a very high quality ceramic glaze. And this is the detail through essentially every portion of the building, and some of it is available to see. But if you go towards the base of the building, you'll notice the foundation is not visible, and there are evidences that there is quite a bit more of this building below grade. So having some nice times in Sonoma, on the way to a job, met some nice characters here with me.
So our speculation
tell me.
on this building
Yes.
is that this is an X-Men facility.
Yes.
Claire had her hair started doing this as we got closer to
Did you?
the building.
You feel some energy
She
here?
remembered being here as a child.
Good.
So that energy was coming off of her as we got here. However, you seem to have a ton of knowledge on.
It's been about a year of extreme diving.
Okay, so what do you speculate then? Do you have a speculation on who actually built these columns and how this granite actually got here?
Right. That does seem to be, and why, of course. So what we're noticing in this research community, which is taking on a large group of people that are dedicating thousands of hours to the subject in every country of the world, is that there was a much greater civilization just recently before us that had technology, that had abilities, that were masters of construction. When you really examine these buildings, these are perfect construction, and they've outlasted all the current generations that are currently living. And once that happens, it's easy to tell a false story. So telling us that in the entire county there was only a handful of people in a time when this type of work, just examining the brick construction, who made the bricks? Very questionable. Then you start to research and realize there does not exist a single construction photo of any brick building in this world. If you would like to examine the vintage photos, just try to find a cleared lot, bricks on property, workers on site, ready to begin. It's not a thing. So 1826 is when black and white photography came on the scene, and most of these buildings are said to have been built in the late 1800s. So there's no excuse for lack of photos. Then you look at the when you start to think about what it takes to actually make a brick, the mining of the clay, the mortar is a significant portion of the build between every joint. So that's mined sand. And then you start to get into the lime and cement manufacturing, transporting process. Current buildings, current structures of this size, which are completely boring. There's an interchange being built in Napa, 29 and 121. It's going to be a flyover highway section. It's going to take 2.5 years. Many of these buildings, including all of the world fairs, all of the state capitals, all of the city courthouses that are incredible, are being declared 2-year builds, almost exclusively the one in Napa, 20,000 pallets of red bricks, all the interior work, spires, sculptures, stonework, County of 10,000 built for 800 patients. So we need to build a place that's impossible to build, and we need to put 8% of the population in as soon as we're done. And who built them? Who were the master masons? But when you look at the detail, it's too incredible. This is carved stone, and a lot of it looks to be 3D printed. Machine work is evident. When you look at these granite sections that we talked about earlier, the cut marks are there, the saw marks are there. And as a tile contractor, I've sawed a tremendous amount of granite, and I've mixed a lot of mortar, and I've packed a tremendous amount of very heavy materials. And the labor involved and the logistics are quite impossible. So we may be looking at a building that's not 150 to 170 years. We could be looking at a building that's 500 years old.
So correlation to, I don't know, say the Mayans or Egyptians in some way. Is there a correlation there, do you think, in any way? Or is it a different method? Or
So
that technology?
what seems to be happening as the deeper we dig and the larger the structures we examine, the larger the structures become more complicated and become more impossible the further you go back into time. The blocks become bigger. The movement of materials to huge mountain locations seems absolutely amazing. So there appears to be, like I'd mentioned, if we're being told that this was built for insane people, and the list of things that could get you committed to one of these institutions is very long and includes almost everyone if you think carefully, and the types of things that they were doing here to these patients, supposedly sanctioned by our government, has to do with experimenting, isolating, torturing, giving of strange drugs, murdering. And then if you look at the locations, for example, Napa Kirkbride, there's been extensive LIDAR research from the air, and there's shallow graves everywhere. They're everywhere. I don't want to talk about it, but there's hundreds and hundreds of bodies in the field. So something happened, and seems to be a series of resets, we could say. So possibly late 1800s, something happened, and we lost a large amount of our population, and there were cataclysms, and large areas were buried in mud and sand and debris and rock that many times has evidence of melting and concretion. So we're studying and questioning the geologic evidence that presents itself. But if this was 500 years and people crawled out of the ashes as they came across the so-called United States, finding things, founding them, eureka-ing them, which amazing is the state motto of California, Eureka, which literally means I found it. So as they come through, go up, I'm going to head up Arnold Drive right now. I got an appointment, but
This is amazing.
it is spectacular. So I am Kairos channel. And my name is Kairos. It's my name.
That is a unique name.
It is an interesting name with an interesting, very interesting definition. So I'm on YouTube, and it's I am Kairos, Kairos, and I'm just looking at everything, talking to people in depth. I've got some microscope experiments coming with some of the samples that I've extracted from melted walls and melted bricks, and
This is you?
that is me.
Okay, I'm subscribed.
See my funny face right there? I just came back from Fort Point underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, and this is amazing because it's the same time period. It's the only Civil War fort built west of the Mississippi. Extensive brick and granite and archwork with an 1,800-foot seawall made of granite with metal between the joints, not mortar. And this thing is, like I said, it's 1,800 feet long. It's over 50 feet tall. The foundation's always below sea level. And it was so strong and amazing that they actually left it in place unmodified when they installed the anchor points for the Golden Gate Bridge, which are housed within it.
This is incredible.
So have a great day. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Thanks for. I was just going to take a shot with the zoom lens from the driver's side door, but hey, I'm like I might have some people that might know something.
The place you're talking about
out in Napa, that's the one off Silverado Trail.
It was destroyed in 1949, and no one has a record much of it, and I can't find out where these 20 million bricks went, but I've got my suspicions. Nice to meet you guys.
Have a good day, Cairo.
Thank you.